What's up, Jaylon?
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
We're doing well, man. We're doing well. I assume that's the first time you heard what Collinsworth and Tirico said about you last night after you had that pass breakup on the broadcast.
Oh, definitely. Didn't know, didn't know too much of anything. So, I mean, that was good to hear that.
Yeah, it was a positive spin on what the contract future might look like. And those guys talked to coaches and others during the week. He said if the Bears have their way, Jaylon will be wearing the navy blue and orange a long time. And how are you feeling about the state of things with the trade deadline coming up tomorrow?
Honestly, I mean, kind of the same. Just still at peace with it. I mean, what will happen is going to happen, and I think it's just really just about just remaining at peace, not being too high, not being too low, but just doing what's best for me, and I'm sure the Bears and as an organization will do the same. So just remaining at peace and just continuing to better myself as a player, as a person, and whatever God's will from the situation will come.
You know, Rashawn Gary signed one today. It does happen, but tomorrow is not a deadline to sign. It is just a deadline to trade. So,
right, for sure.
You know, and so I guess, you know, we've been doing this a long time, and a lot of people are not as open as talking about this as you have been. I'm wondering, have you been open in talking about it because you want to spur action? You want to make something happen where it hasn't yet?
Nah, if I want to spur action, I'd say a lot more than what I already say. I mean, just for me, I've always been an open book, but I've also learned and also know that there's a sense of professionalism in it as well. So I mean, it's been plenty of things. I mean, I say what's going on, but I don't say all the details of everything. I mean, there's some things to me that stays in house. So I mean, just going through the situation. I mean, just continue to be professional, but also being honest with it as well. I thought there's a fair balance.
That makes sense. Have you had any pushback? Like, has anyone been like, "Hey, man, I wish you wouldn't talk about this so much in the media"?
Nah, I haven't had that. At least not said to my face. I don't know what's said behind closed doors, but
Good.
I haven't had anybody say anything to me about it.
Yeah, it's funny. A couple people in the media have said some stuff, and it's like it's been very easy to say, "Are you kidding? Look at Jaylon as a teammate. Look at Jaylon as a dude, as a player." It's like, and things are different now than perhaps they used to be. We're like, the business, if it's on your mind and people can talk about it, right? It's like you guys talk about that stuff as a group. I'm sure, in terms of players getting what they can and trying to support each other in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like somebody always gonna have something to say about something that you do, or I mean, I don't know. Again, I feel like especially writers in the media, they gotta have stuff to talk about. So, I mean, I don't really get too caught up in that. I think just for me, for the team in the locker room, I think it's really just about being honest with each other and just saying what it is, what it's not, and I feel like that's how you get close. That's how you earn the respect of your teammates. And I know I don't really give a damn what anybody got to really say about me or how I'm doing anything. I know I'm doing it the right way, and I know my guys, my locker room, they know that and they feel that, and I think I can say confidently that everybody in that locker room has the utmost respect for me, and I know I have the respect and love, and I feel like that's how I got their respect and got everything that I am now because the man I am and the way I've been doing things, the way I've been going on about my business. And I could be a lot worse about the situation. And it's like, for me, I've been pretty solid. I've been pretty straightforward, but also professional at the same time. And I think that the Bears as an organization and everybody involved can appreciate that. So, I mean, I'm not really too concerned about what anybody else feel like I should do or shouldn't do, but I know who I am internally. I know the type of man I am and how I've been carrying myself.
So there's two more quick things on this, and then we're going to talk a lot of football in the game yesterday with you. Ryan Poles said on their radio network on their pregame show about a deal for you. He said, you know, it has to make sense for both sides. What do you think he means by that?
I think it's just, I feel like negotiating. I don't know. I feel like people kind of look at like a football contract negotiation different than, I feel like it's no different if you're trying to go get a car at a certain price. Like, yeah, the lot will say, "Oh, well, we have this car for sale at $28,000," but it's like I don't have to buy that car at $28,000. We can negotiate. So I feel like as far as what it looks like, everybody on both sides know floor is and what their ceiling is. And I think on both sides you try to find that middle ground. So it's like, of course, if let's say if I wanted, for example, don't quote me, but if I wanted $23 million a year, it's like, okay, clearly we're not going to do $23 million, but it's like, also I know that I'm not doing 13. So it's like you trying to balance and negotiate as high as you can. And I feel like for them, in a sense, sometimes as low as you can, you want to try to get the best for less. And I feel like there's just that negotiation where it's like, okay, how can we kind of gauge where we're going to figure out how to pay somebody and what, in a sense, they're able to at the end of the day too. 'Cause I mean, there's sometimes where you do want to pay a player a whole lot, but sometimes you have these other things that's going on that may stop you from doing it. So I think it's all just about, like you said, just what makes sense for both sides, what they're able and willing to do, and then what I'm able and willing to take at the end of the day.
That makes perfect sense. Are you guys close, or are you far apart, like in your just hypothetical numbers that you gave?
I would say it's all about. I mean, it's hard to say if you're far, if you're close. I think it's just kind of pushing the other one's kind of agenda a little bit. Just, of course, trying to get out everything that I can, and then for them trying to kind of stay at their number, their range that they want. So I mean, it's one of those things where you don't know until you really know. Because I mean, it could be one of those things where it's like, oh well, okay, well I'm not doing anything outside of this number, and they can say, well, we're not going as high as this number, and then at some point, it's okay, well somebody gonna start playing possum either. I'm a sign, and they're going to kind of budge, or that's kind of just how it works. I mean, you don't really know until somebody really takes a hard stance on it, and that hasn't happened at this point.
That's some of the least amount of fun I've ever had in my radio life. Jaylon, is like in the middle of negotiating contracts at the same time. Yeah. It's like, all right, let's talk about what you're worth and what you're not worth. Now go have a good show. You know, like right in the middle of that.
Yeah, but you wanted $23 million.
I did, and they only wanted to give me 13. Those bastards.
Yeah, it's like I can't do a radio show for $13 million.
I just can't live on that.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, myself. All right,
we're driving Hondas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, I am too. I'm right there with you.
I know. That's why you said the car for $28,000. I was like, that's my Honda guy, Jaylon Johnson.
There it is.
That number wasn't hypothetical. The $23 million was, but not that number.
Yeah. You and I have bought cars in that $28,000 range. Yes, sir.
We talked last week with you, Jaylon, about how like there was like an extra level of physicality to you last week in the Vegas game, and it just kind of a little bit of a spark. Last night on the play that we played there with Quentin Johnston, you breaking it up, there was a finger wag. I was like, look at our guy wagging the finger. Have you ever done that before? I can't recall a Jaylon Johnson finger wag after a pass broken up.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I've done it a few times. It's funny you say that because me and Jaylon Jones, we got a little handshake that involves that in it. But so I mean, that's kind of just like a new little thing that I've kind of done here and there. Of course, some of the bigger plays you don't do it, but I mean, just in a situation like that, it happened to come out. But I mean, it really started off with a handshake between me and Jaylon Jones, and then we kind of just took it and kind of just do it whenever we make a play on the ball or something. We do it in practice, but there's been a few times where I've done it in the game.
All right, looked like Dikembe Mutombo blocked shot stuff.
Yeah, no, my finger ain't that
right
long,
there.
Though,
no, your finger's not.
That would help.
All right, let's talk about the loss. Why was that such a tough tackling night for you guys as a defense? Matt Eberflus talked about it and the fundamentals and that stuff. Is that a particularly tough group to tackle, or was it just a tough night?
Honestly, I'm gonna say a tough night because I feel like I feel like we can say like, hey, man, that background's hard, or he was just like, I mean, we have those conversations like within the locker room, like as players, and it's like we know what that feels like, and it's like, granted they're a good team, but I feel like we just weren't sound tackling. I mean, I can say that open and honestly, just it wasn't sound enough. We didn't have the right angles. We just didn't tackle good enough, and I feel like it was a lot of I don't know. I mean, the effort was there. I mean, I wouldn't say that guys weren't flying around, but it just like it wasn't smart, playing hard football. I think we kind of were just a little too loose in playing hard and flying around. I think we got to be more controlled and have that controlled aggression and being smart and calculated with how we're going and tackling, and not just kind of running around just trying to hit people any kind of way. Just being more calculated and controlled with what we're doing. And I think those just really led to big plays. I mean, normally you might miss a tackle, somebody else is right there, but it's like you missed a tackle and the dude scampered for 30 yards or scampered for a first down. It's just like things like that is hard to win football games when you have them in the backfield and then they advance for however many yards. So I mean, it was just a tough night tackling.
We talked after the Chiefs game, and you were like, something to the effect, I'm paraphrasing, you don't even really count those takeaways because they didn't come against Mahomes. And you guys, you guys had takeaways against Hoyer in the Raiders game. You guys had sacks against Sam Howell in the Washington game, and he's the most sacked quarterback in football. But then you play Justin Herbert, and he completes 15 of passes in his first 15 attempts. It seems from the outside looking in, like when you guys play higher caliber opponents, higher caliber quarterbacks, the defense struggles. Is that a fair thing to say, that basically when you guys play good teams, the defense just isn't ready yet to rise to that challenge?
I'm gonna say yes and no. I'm not. Well, sorry. I wouldn't say not ready for the challenge. I definitely feel like if it's one thing where Justin Herbert was throwing the ball any and everywhere across the field, down the field, explosive, deep ball, like then it'd be okay. Like nah, he was doing his thing. But to me, it's like the bigger plays came off screen plays. Like we can't. I mean, I respect the hell out of Justin Herbert and love his game and playing against him, but we're not about to act like he just shredded us down the field and just was throwing the ball any like the big plays came off screens, came off what was it, a dang flea flicker screen. Like that's not just as simple as oh yeah, Justin Herbert just shredded the defense. Now let's put a perspective of how they got their big explosive plays. And even with that, everybody's talking about tackling. That has nothing to do with a big name quarterback to being able to tackle. We're not. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the issues of that game weren't in result of us playing a good quarterback. It was because we weren't playing sound, good physical football. I mean, we just were missing tackles, and it's not like we can't tackle. We just didn't have a good tackling performance. So I mean, I feel like other than that, I mean, we kept the ball in front. They didn't hardly have any big explosive plays. I mean, Justin Herbert hit that deep 7 ball. I mean, that was probably the longest throw he completed in the air. I mean, everything else was catch short and run the ball. So I mean, it's not. I can't just accept it. It just well, every time we play a good quarterback, they just like nah. That wasn't the case in that game.
Man, that's good analysis of actually what happened in that game. That deep 7 ball to Keenan Allen was a big time arm, big time throw, but everything else was just super quick, accurate as hell from Justin Herbert, but like these quick little passes. But like he's really good at that too. Like he's really good at every aspect of quarterbacking. Isn't he? Is that a top 5 guy in the NFL for you, Justin Herbert?
Oh, it's hard to put a number. I went off the top of my head. I probably wouldn't say top 5, but I definitely know that he's worth all the way what he got paid. And I feel like too, it's like for me, it's one of those things where I know him, and I think for him, I was able to appreciate just from the football standpoint is like he didn't force anything. He didn't try to do too much. He just threw the ball to the open guy. If it was a check down. I think O'Connell did a good job coming up with some creative ways to get Austin Eckler the ball and just things like that. Because I mean, I feel like nobody's just going to run the ball down our throat, but it's like how can we figure out another way to get our running back the ball in space and get him the ball. So I feel like I think overall they just did a good job, and I don't think Herbert did anything to hurt the team. I think he did everything that he was supposed to do, and then of course, like you said, he made that big time throw to 13. I mean, other than that, I feel like he just took what we gave him.
We're talking to Jaylon Johnson here, Parkins Spiegel on the score. Like we talked about with you last week, there was a lot of talk about Tyson Bagent today on the show, on the radio station, but also last night on the broadcast. Eberflus said that Bagent is going to start against New Orleans next week. On the broadcast, Jaylon, they said that Justin Fields could learn from watching Tyson Bagent and that he can learn things from him. What do you think they mean by that? Is that accurate?
Honestly, I don't know what they mean by that. Do you know when they said it or what the context was when they said it?
So it seemed to be about like
Seems to be about the quick game, right?
Yeah, snap, throw, running the offense as the plays are intended, getting the ball out fast. Justin has a tendency to hold the ball longer, take more sacks than Tyson Bagent does.
I mean, I feel like nobody's ever too high or too low to learn from in a sense, the next man and learn from what's going on. But I mean, I would say kind of, it's hard to just say. It's easy to kind of have an opinion, have something to say as far as learning. And I mean, I feel like it's different when you're in there, and especially if you have a guy. I mean, it's natural for you to simplify the playbook for your backup quarterback versus your number one quarterback. So it's like the reads, the everything that can go on. I feel like aren't and haven't been the same. I mean, so I feel like it's easy to say that, but I mean, I don't think, just from what you asked me, I don't know what they mean by that, but I mean, we'll see. But I'm not sure.
Okay. How is Justin doing?
As far as I know, he's doing good. I know every time I go in to get some treatment, he's in there definitely getting treatment on his little thumb. So I know he's coming along.
His little thumb. You're like, come on, man.
Come on, you quarterback.
Have a real injury. Like my knee is my knee's important.
My hamstring. My shoulder.
That throwing hand is definitely a hamstring or shoulder for somebody else.
That's true.
Yeah, no, it's important.
That's true. His little thumb.
It seems, Jaylon, like we were talking about this last week, and part of it is when we get a chance to talk to you, and part of it is just other players. It seems like you guys have a good thing going where you can support Tyson and you can support Justin, and like Tyson and Justin seem able to support each other. Like it seems like it's a good, healthy thing. A lot of people are like trying to make it a quarterback controversy or assuming that might happen in the locker room. But I mean, what is the state of the team in terms of like those two guys getting talked about the way they are?
Honestly, man, I think from a locker room perspective, I think it all comes down to love and respect. And I think that's the two biggest things that we have in our locker room for each other and the man next to you. And I think it starts with respect just of the game, respecting the other man's craft, but also love when you spend time with somebody. I mean, especially with Justin and Tyson being in the same room, like nobody in a sense predicted that Justin would get hurt or anything like that. So it's like when you build that love and that time and that respect with another person, and then you go down and next man is up. I mean, that it doesn't waver. That doesn't change. And I mean, just even for everybody else in the locker room, like like we love and respect Justin. We love and respect Tyson. Like nothing for us would ever change. And it's like we know who, in a sense, that we, in a sense, have our ultimate trust in and things like that. But it's like at the end of the day, we still love and respect Tyson. We still love and respect. I mean, Defoe, like he came in and I mean, when Herbert comes back, I mean, we still gonna love and support and respect him as well. So I mean, it doesn't change. When guys get hurt and other guys come in and step up, I mean, you don't do anything but continue to love and respect your teammates.
You were the honorary captain for the game. Did you have to give a speech, or did you forget like last year?
That's crazy you brought that up. Nah, I didn't give a speech. We weren't pressured to give speeches this year. We were a little pressured last year to give speeches, but I didn't forget. I just got team breakdown and that was it.
Okay. And why no orange? What happened?
Nothing happened. You just can't wear the orange all the time.
Okay. I wasn't sure because you said that they kind of tried to make you change last week, but you didn't change, and so I was wondering if you were going to do anything because we saw your pregame. Your outfit.
Danny sent the picture of you in your pregame outfit to the whole group of us, the whole show thread. Who's like, look.
I was going to wear it today, but I was like, you know what? It looked better on Jaylon,
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't do that one, but
yeah,
me
too.
No, that's all. I actually felt like it was probably one of my better looks I've had this year. I'll take that look over the suits for sure.
Yeah, it was very, very strong. Olave, I mean, we shadowing him next week. When are we going to get to see what you did against A.J. Brown last year? I'm going to ask you this every couple of weeks because I want to see it again. And they're not. Eberflus won't let you do it. I don't like it.
So why are you asking me?
Because he likes to start trouble.
Yeah,
Jaylon.
man. Because
you know us by now.
Yes,
you know us by now.
That's why. Because I ask the tough questions, Jaylon. That's why.
Nah, it ain't tough to me. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I respect a lot of people, and I definitely am familiar and respect a lot of these games. But to me, it's like you don't have me following 17 from the Raiders, 13 from the Chargers, 13 from the Buccaneers, and I'm pretty sure Olave isn't going to get just the head nod all of a sudden. So
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be what it is, and we just gonna continue to prepare, continue to do what we need to do, and go from there.
You gave Fresno the no some love
Right.
last night. Why not Utah? Do you go back and forth? I mean, what's that decision like every once in a while?
I mean, honestly, to me, it's one of those things where I feel like everybody. I don't know. I feel like Utah does enough to get recognition. They just, I mean, granted we lost, but ESPN Game Day were top ranked team. So I mean, I feel like you don't hear about Fresno every weekend. You don't hear about the things that go on or just what that city is like. Nobody. That's not in the paperwork or that's not in the ESPN. So I mean, for me, it's just about being a bigger representation for a smaller place, but also just again just being. And for me, it's like that's the place where I feel the most humble at, where I feel the most home at. So I mean, anytime I can represent my hometown, and I mean, that place, that community, that city built me to be who I am today. So I mean, they definitely hold a different place in my heart. So I mean, it's definitely never any bad blood against Utah or anything like that. I still talk to my coaches and the staff and stuff there till this day, and go back and visit. So I mean, it's not like there's bad blood there. It's just something bigger than just, I feel like, just saying my college name when I say Fresno.
See, and here we are joking, and you make it real because that's what you do. With Kevy's vision, you've done some great work in Fresno, right? Done football camps and a bunch of other stuff.
100%.
Yeah, out there.
Yeah, no, I'm just not a talker. Some people may think, oh, I'm just some type of philosopher, but no, I really live like this, and it's one of those things where I go back and, like I said, I've been staying and doing my off season in Fresno. My daughter's in Fresno. My community work is in the city of Fresno, and my future plans are in the city of Fresno. So it's not like, oh, well, I'm just saying Fresno because I don't want to say Utah. Like, nah, that's where my heart's at. So I mean, that's what I'm gonna represent.